My name is Mihai Varga. I'm a research collaborator at the Institute for East European Studies of the Freie Universität Berlin. So I'm lecturing and doing research at this university since 2012. Before that, I did my PhD at the University of Amsterdam in social science. I'm an economic sociologist, and my broad research interest was in the market reforms, market-making reforms, liberalizing, privatizing reforms of the 1990s carried out in Eastern Europe, and specifically in the outcomes of those reforms, whether and how people could defend and improve their livelihoods in the course of those reforms. Already during my PhD, I started working on the Ukraine. I had been there previously, maybe the first time in 2012, 2003, then again doing a broader journey in 2006, but I went there for research starting with 2007 and continued doing ethnographic fieldwork in various cities of the country up until 2010. And the topic of my PhD research were worker mobilizations and trade union leadership strategies in the course of those worker mobilizations at various plants in Ukraine, so industrial plants in Ukraine and in Romania. And then when I arrived in Berlin at the Freie Universität, I started another ethnographic project that took me to the rural landscapes of the country, and I studied the outcomes of land reform, which was found by the World Bank as particularly lacking in Ukraine. In Ukraine, it was until recently a big political issue, so the advancement of land reform as intended and as wished by the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. My research, however, was showing slightly different picture, that already on the ground there were informal practices capable of helping people improve their livelihoods and cope with poverty, and simply betting only on land reform would translate into a silver bullet approach that would perhaps not be as fruitful as expected. And I confronted this, let's say, research outcome also with what we know from other post-communist countries that already have this kind of reforms behind them, and if carried out alone in those countries, they didn't bring many fruitful results. But during my ethnographic fieldwork, I came in touch with various people in Ukraine, so researchers that have supported me and with whom I started all sorts of collaborations. Perhaps one of the best initiatives worth mentioning was the so-called summer school in Ukraine. It was an event, a series of events, a yearly series of events organized by the French Embassy in Kyiv, together with the University of Ottawa, so the Chair for Ukrainian Studies, Dominique Arel, and with various academic partners in Ukraine, with various local universities from Zhytomyr to Chernovets. And in the course of that summer school, I extended my networks, came in touch with many interesting people with whom I'm in touch also today. Maybe another worthwhile initiative is that together with people at the Kyiv School of Economics, I've been writing research, grant applications, and also on the topic of land reform and socioeconomic outcomes of land reform. I think research on behalf of German universities, for which I can speak, could benefit greatly from such activities, and also seeing, perhaps with the support of the German-Ukrainian academic society, seeing maybe a regional network of researchers, both doctoral students and postdoctoral and professors, come into existence, and supporting people in expanding their research interests and topics.